Good morning. Good morning to you all. Just before we do anything, because I'm rather concerned about the candle status. There we are, Divya, all 5. If you're going to be watching our Christmas service, you'll see them lit a day early because I did light them for the Christmas online service. 5 candles, lots of gold stuff and some dying greenery, but never mind. I'm going to pop it over here out of the way.
I had a near miss with an Advent wreath in Stoke Abbott on Sunday.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so I had to go and remove a candle during What's in World Over City.
Yeah, I've had to remove a few in the past in Masterton as well, because they use cheap candles like dinner time candles. Sorry, Masterton, but they were the year I had to stop a fire. But there we are. I like your hat, Joe. Looking very nice, very festive.
Thank you very much.
Very, to use a word I hate, festive.
Why do you not like the word festive?
Festive. It means nothing. It means festival. If you're going to use it properly. Festival.
I'm looking very festival.
But you haven't got any. Hang on.
Oh, he's really up in his game today. Jingle bells and everything.
I like the tinsel on your hat. In fact, that hat is looking more.
This recording is going to be put back on his shelf.
Yeah,
David, you've dressed as an elf on the shelf.
I know, but the problem is, I think the shelf would collapse, so that would be no good. No. Chris, your hat is looking even more suspicious with red tinsel around it as well.
You did say last week I'd shot my bolt too early, and how was I going to top my Christmas jumper?
Could you possibly rephrase that?
No.
That's okay.
So I hear we had correspondence.
I did. I had an email from a dear Rev Chat viewer complimenting me on my Christmas jumper with my carrot.
Was it the size of the carrot or just the general?
I didn't go into that level of detail, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame.
I wouldn't reveal it if they did.
Good. Was this a well-known Rev Chat viewer, a regular, or somebody happened to stumble across this kind of stuff as we were doing it?
Well, I think it was a regular Rev Chat viewer who doesn't live locally.
Good. I mean, we didn't put anybody off, did we? We didn't put anybody off, did we, Chris? I mean, are they going to tune in again this week?
I don't know. If you're listening, send me another email about this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know what you think about all our jumpers.
Absolutely. I've got. I like my little pom poms. They're kind of very, very festive. And Joe's hat very festive. You're very snowy, Chris. I can see.
I'm still believing, so we're okay.
Yeah, I did notice that. I mean, I saw Charlie Allen, a good friend of all of ours. I think he used to be at the cathedral in Salisbury. Now canon something or other very important in Durham, a very auspicious post. I see her son looked at that picture that's around of all the lady clergy wearing, I believe, jumpers and said, "Is this where's Wally?" Club number 2, I think it was. Well done, Club number 2. Not that you're watching, but well done.
I'm easy to find. I'm in the middle.
Are you?
Just above. Somebody in the middle's bigger than everyone else, and then I'm just above.
Don't worry about it, Joe. We won't mention that. You're okay.
It's not me who's bigger than everyone.
Oh, sorry.
It's all about me. Always all about me. Anyway.
I mean, bigger but shorter. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yeah.
Right. Should we make it all about Jesus?
I stay quiet.
Yeah. Yes, keep very quiet. Don't say anything. Nothing that will incriminate you anyway.
Should we make it about who? What did you say?
Make it about Jesus instead.
Oh no, that gets in the way. Let's just carry on as we are. Oh dear me. Well, it's almost Christmas, so I think we ought to read a Christmas reading.
You think so?
I think so.
All right, you choose. Let's just pause. Is this going to
last for 2 weeks, this Christmas reading?
Sorry?
Has this got to last for 2 weeks?
Well, yes, it has really. I think they need a rest, don't they, after all this, enforced jollity.
Yes, so no Rev Chat next week.
No.
You could watch the bishops of Ipswich and Edmondsbury, who are the original Rev Chatters.
Yeah, I don't know if they do on the week after Christmas.
Maybe not. You can catch up on their back catalogue. It's slightly deeper than ours.
In fact, yeah, people could watch Last Christmas or the First Christmas, couldn't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we have our pause?
Let's pause. Oh, have you got reading, Chris?
Do you want me to read?
Yes, please.
Something I read regularly at this time of year. John 1, chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not one thing came into being. What has come into being in him was life, and the life was the light of all people. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify to the light, so that all might believe through him. He himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light, the true light, which enlightens everyone who was coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world came into being through him. Yet the world did not know him. He came to what was his own, and his own people did not accept him. But to all who received him, who believed in his name, he gave power to become children of God, who were born not of blood or of the will of the flesh or of the will of man, but of God. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. And we have seen his glory, the glory as of a Father's only Son, full of grace and truth.
We could just say goodbye now, really, couldn't we?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
Bye.
Bye. Have a happy Christmas, everyone.
I think when I was a teenager, that was the first passage that made me realise that Jesus Christ was actually God at the beginning of creation, rather than Jesus' life began when he was born.
Yeah.
And it took me ages. It was my first bit of theology I ever did, tracing through. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then following it through to that last verse, and the Word became flesh, made you realise that Jesus was God. There you go. My very first bit of theology there. Something serious in amongst all the jolly.
No. The thing that unlocked this passage for me, there were two things that unlocked it. One was substituting the word with Jesus, which suddenly illuminated the passage for me in a completely different way. So in the beginning was the Jesus, and Jesus was with God, and Jesus was God. You have to drop your definite articles to make it slightly weird, but it was just such an interesting tool to me to unlock and say, that's what the Word is, or that's who the Word is. And the other thing that really unlocked this passage for me was taking it back to creation narrative in Genesis, and that it's Word that creates, God speaks, and that's how the world comes into being. So something about Word, literally the Word, being such a powerful creative force. And yes, Jesus being there from the beginning. So he's not, as the carol would tell us, begotten, not created. So he's, yes, he didn't just start in Mary's womb. he began before. Well, he was there from the beginning.
And most importantly, and I love the end, full of grace and truth.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it also, when I was doing this passage with Gin Church last week, it was, we always call it the prologue. It is the prologue to John's Gospel.
Yeah.
But what I again failed to make the connection, or just made the connection differently this year, it's like the introductory paragraph to an essay, isn't it? It's basically John saying, so this here is Jesus, and here's John, and Jesus is coming into the world. People will reject him, but he's light and he's truth and he's grace. And this is what's happening. He's coming now, and he will make you a child of God if you believe in him. And then now I'm going to tell you all that story and the rest of the gospel, because that's what this gospel is about. But I don't know, that was a bit of a revelation for me this year. It's like, oh yeah, no, that's what it is, isn't it? It's the whole gospel encapsulated in 14 verses.
Yeah, it's that introduction you get to the front of a book, which often goes on for longer than the first chapter.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point.
If you want to know what's coming, it's all in there. Yeah.
Before anything else, God was, and God was Jesus, Jesus was God. And, any confusion, it's all there.
You can always take it as a synopsis when you just read the back cover.
Oh, yes, the blurb.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is the summary of what this book's about. If you want to know more.
Yeah. Then there'll be some quotes afterwards. The greatest story ever told, Reverend Joe Neary.
Yeah. Or somebody from the Financial Times is, what is truth?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They would have somebody from the People's Friend as well, of course, don't they? Which in this case, I think would be very, very appropriate.
Yes.
But
yes,
no,
absolutely. The People's Friend say, he is our friend.
He's our friend, that's right, yeah. He is the one we keep on being told about. And it is such a wonderful passage. But many people will hear it this year, and I wonder how many people will actually understand or just accept it as tradition. Because sometimes, if we're not careful, we trot these things out, don't we? And it's getting that meaning in and really being able to phrase that. When it's read at midnight or Christmas morning, whenever it is, it's getting the phrasing right so people realise exactly what it's saying to them and the importance to them and to their lives.
Isn't that one of the reasons we stand when we read this passage? Because we read the whole story, and then we stand to acknowledge that the whole story is God. The whole story is summed up in this prologue, and it puts it all into context.
Yep, absolutely. And I think when we were reflecting at Gin Church on it, we were saying, we always say, well, how does this speak into your life today? Because Scripture has a relevance not just from the past, but from into now. And the overwhelming thing for people at the moment was the light shining in the darkness, and the darkness did not overcome it. Mm-hmm. That powerful image of light in the darkness, I think, and that's really stayed with me all since last week. Just that, there's quite a lot of darkness. We talk about it a lot, don't we? But there's darkness and
we're going through
uncertainty,
times, aren't we?
We are, definitely.
I always remember in my dim and distant past, it seems sometimes now, but when I worked in the psychiatric hospitals, some people with depression used to talk about it as the darkness in their lives, and they couldn't see any light. And I just used to sit with them and try and, without being theological about any of this, because that wasn't what I was there to do, but was to try and say, actually, the light will always overcome the darkness. Mm-hmm. It may not feel like it at the moment, and you will feel absolutely awful, and you may feel you want to do desperate things to yourself or, whatever. But hang in there, because good light will always overcome darkness, badness, or whatever. But when you're not feeling good about the light or about yourself, that isn't always good to hear. And there'll be many people at Christmas this year. I was watching last night on the news and listening again this morning on the news about the people in the Philippines. We've hardly heard about that, have we? And this great hurricane or whatever it is that's ripped through the country. And yeah, we'll be sat at home on Christmas Day enjoying, Call the Midwife or Strictly, and there they'll be, just looking for their goods that are being washed out to their houses or families that are being killed. And it's so easy sometimes to have, not to put a complete damper on Christmas, because we don't. And what can we do? Well, that's something for us all to work out personally, I guess. But yeah, darkness will always be overcome in the end, whatever we feel or know.
Yeah, and that's a good message for Christmas.
It is.
Uncertainty is not. We're not going to stay in uncertainty forever. We're going to.
There's the light, you see.
In the light of Christ. Fantastic.
In the light of Christ. There we are. It's all there. Yeah, so there we are. So good viewer. We hope that you all have a wonderful Christmas. And thank you very much for bearing with us over the last 12 months of these glorious theological discussions. Some of you love it. Some of you perhaps
don't watch.
They won't know what I'm saying to them if they're not watching, will they? Come on, girl, get it right. But thank you for bearing with us, and we do love the comments. Chris's carrot jumper obviously caused a mass hysteria last week as he got a comment on his personally. I think people are starting to like Chris. It's almost been 12 months, hasn't it?
It has. It's nearly a year of Mr. Grask.
Yeah,
Sorry, Reverend Grask.
Yeah, almost 12 months since he collided into this epitome of whatever it may be. So
that means Joe's sabbatical must be in the dim and distant past.
I thought it's every year, isn't it not? January till March every year.
Yeah, she's going
to have 3 months rest.
She's going to retake it because she's going to do this great theological tome that never got completed last year. So we're waiting on that. I'm waiting for the book, my life during lockdown or something from Reverend.
What she did in the last lockdown. I mean, she didn't really have a sabbatical because she appeared in worship every Sunday.
I did.
I know.
I just did 3 months' work before I went away.
It was just remarkable. It really was remarkable.
We're going to have to find a way of proving every Sunday, January, February, March, on their online worship that Harry's not just republishing something from a year earlier.
Well, right. He did the other day because you could re-watch the crib service from last year, which was very good.
Oh.
Well, that was me. I thought, it wasn't me, but Harry made it. But I thought if people weren't wanting to come to church this year because they don't feel very comfy, haven't got time to do them a new one, so they can have last year's.
You haven't got time to do them.
Story's the same.
You haven't got time to do a manure one, did you say? I wasn't good.
New one.
Oh, sorry, I misheard. It's that donkey. It's that donkey, you see. They get such a mess. They really do. There we are.
Yeah, well, I'm going to republish last year's carol service because a lot of effort went into people rehearsing just before lockdowns and things and recording it. Yeah. And I thought with people not wanting to come, I'd just let them rewatch last year's because some of it was rather good.
Excellent.
Yeah. I thought the Beaminster Senior School carol service from last year, which was all done online, recorded parts in the church and parts in the school, deserved a re-sending out. It was so good and so well done. But it didn't, sadly. I have got a copy of it. I could put it up there, couldn't I? Watch it again. But there we are.
Do we say goodbye then?
Yeah, I'm going to have a quick jingle of the bells once more.
Are they actually bells, or is it something you're pressing on your computer?
It's the bells.
Oh, it's the bells on you. Oh.
It's the bells on me. I'm not pressing anything, Joe. What would I press? Because we wouldn't.
Some button.
Joe, you're assuming he's technically more capable than.
I don't. He sorted me out with the technical.
I was a technical advisor yesterday with an iPad, which I don't even possess myself. But I worked it out. Basically, Joe. Chris. switch it on type of thing. But it was all there. It was all good. But no, these are the real bells. And I can't just press it. We wouldn't want Chris pressing his carrot, would we? So there we are. Dear viewer, have a very happy Christmas. We won't be here for 1 week only next week. But hopefully we'll all be back, or some of us will be back the following week. And you can continue this odyssey into the theological adventures of the three amigos. So there we are. Have a great Christmas, and please relax. And you and Chris as well, Joe, relax when he gets to it. And we'll see you very shortly.
Oh, he's gone. Everyone's frozen on my screen. Oh, we'll see you very shortly. We'll see you soon. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.